Double Springs Middle School in the gymnasium. We are going to be viewing tonight a play called The Incident of Looney's Tavern, and those that know Winston County history will know what this is all about, Winston County heritage. I'm sitting here with the director, Sharon Pike. Good evening, Sharon, and tell us a little bit about this production, and it's given by students.
I am so thrilled about this production. I am brand new to Winston County, to Double Springs. So
Where are you from?
I am from really all over because I'm a performing artist, but I was born and raised in the foothills of the Adirondack Mountains. So
New York.
Love Double Springs.
What brought you here?
Well, my husband is a band director, and so we kind of travel around.
And his name's Sharon, and we'll meet him a little bit later.
He is Rodney Fike. He's the band director here at Winston County High School, but he also does all my technical work for me on my show, so we make a great team. And I'm a Alabama State Council artist in resident in Montgomery, and so I've done shows pretty much all over the state.
Well, they're lucky to have you here in Winston County,
I was
Sharon.
Fortunate enough. We've only been here since August, but I was fortunate enough to spend an afternoon with Mr. Neil Shipman.
Oh, yes, from the original production.
If it were not for Mr. Neil Shipman, there would not be a Looney's Tavern. And Mr. Shipman was a plethora of history, and I learned more in the 4 and 5 hours that I spent with him about the history of Winston County and Looney's Tavern and the Free State of Winston. And I truly...
Did you know that story before you moved here?
I did not, and it's really strange because I worked in a school where one of the administrators was an reenactor, a Civil War reenactor. So here I'm from the north, and here he is, a Civil War reenactor. But the one thing we had in common was what was best for the kids, and so we ended up just adoring each other and supporting each other. And I learned a lot about. I learned not to call it the Civil War from this particular time.
It's the war between the states.
There was nothing Civil War about it. So I truly did feel blessed being able to spend that time with Mr. Shipman, considering that he passed. And
Sharon, I am just so impressed with you. You've been here since August, and you've managed to do this? That's amazing.
Well, I have been doing theater and singing for the last 40 years. I've been all over the Southeast and in New York. I started out in New York, and then went to Kentucky, and then went to Tennessee, and then I just been kind of all over, starting theaters and doing theaters. And so,
but you're a little spark plug because you moved here August 2015, and you have this going.
These kids, these are 8th graders through 12th graders, and they're from all over the county. This is not just out of Winston County High School or Double Springs Middle School. These kids are from Meek and Arley and Addison and every school. In fact, my leads are from Meek. So these are kids from all over Winston County. And as I was telling other people, they're rivals now on ball fields, but they have completely bonded in the theater genre, and they want to do more theater. So out of this, Looney's Tavern has begun an organization called the Young Actors Guild of Winston County. So when we do shows, the auditions will be open to all of Winston County and not just Winston County High and Double Springs.
Sharon, I can't tell you how proud we are. You're in Winston County, and how wonderful that for these young people. What an opportunity for them.
It is. And I have several students in the past that, if anybody ever watches Good Luck Charlie, the little girl that plays the mom on that show was one of my students. I have a child on Broadway right now. I have a student who is in regional theater in Georgia. People don't realize that you can go to college on a theater scholarship and you don't have to major in theater. You can major in computers, you can major in nursing, but you can act your way through college. And it's one of the best kept secrets. And very few people realize it, and very few people take advantage of those theater scholarships. So they're much more plentiful than, say, sports scholarships.
We're so happy you're in Winston County. This is wonderful.
I love it. I love Winston County. I love Double Springs. And if we stop and think about it, our educational system began to decline in the 70s, late 60s, 70s. If you look at it, that's when the arts began
to disappear.
So they can do all the No Child Left Behind and the core curriculum and every other little thing that they want to come up with. But until they start...
Which really hasn't measured up, has it?
Not at all.
It just seemed to cause more problems.
Especially for the teachers. They have just done all sorts of studies. Music in itself is one of 5 things that uses both sides of your brain at the same time. There's a handful of things, and music is one of them. And so it's vital that we bring our education back into our schools, which is, again, something that I'm talking to our superintendent about. And I want to come in and start some choruses and some choirs and teach these elementary kids some of these songs they ought to know. Some of these kids don't even know America the Beautiful.
That's sad, isn't it?
No, it breaks my heart.
Well, Sharon, you're going to have to keep in mind the Arley Women's Club. They are very much into volunteering in the schools around Meek, and they've been instrumental in bringing art as volunteers, so you must talk to these ladies.
Oh, I would be glad to talk to them anytime.
Sharon, now tonight in this production, tell us about the cast members.
The cast members are from every single school in Winston County. They're from Addison and Meek and Arley and Winston County and Double Springs, and I can't even begin to think of the other schools that they're from. They are 8th grade through 12th grade. This is a revival, and I was had a little bit of trepidation about some of the people that had been in this before, because I was afraid they were going to think, I want to see what we did up at the amphitheater. But they have been so gracious and so thrilled that it's just come to life again. And when these kids
they are as excited as you are.
They are. And these kids are amazing. And probably, I would say 90% of them have never, ever been on stage before. Not ever.
Oh my, I know you're so proud of them.
I couldn't be prouder.
Tell us a little bit more about the assistants you've had in this.
Of course, Mr. Shandy Porter has been instrumental.
He's a coordinator, isn't he, with
grant writer with the Board of Education in Winston County. Mr. Penley, the superintendent of the Board of Education, has been invaluable. Mr. Cole, who is the principal of Winston County High School, has been gracious enough to allow us to use a band room for our rehearsals. And Mr. Adderholt, who is Double Springs principal, has allowed us to use the facility.
Oh, right here at the middle school.
Right. And, of course, we talked about my husband being the tech director, but the tech work is being done by students. That the spotlight, the music, everything except the microphones actually are being run by the students themselves, because we think it's just as important for them to learn the technical aspects as it is to learn the
Again,
acting.
a wonderful opportunity.
Right, and our stage managers, we do have an adult back there, but the stage managers themselves back there are students.
Okay, and I believe you said Luke Hendricks is going to be back there tonight.
Yes, and Luke was part of the original Looney's Tavern at the amphitheater, and he worked in the technical department. So, and last night we had the original Caroline, the original lady who played Caroline in the very first production of Looney's Tavern, and
Again, do you remember what years that ran? It was
ran, I believe it was 1988 to 2003. So, and then it stopped. But we are dedicating these shows to.
we have one of the original cast members here. What is your name?
My name is Paula Martin Harris.
All right, and what year were you in the production?
95 and 96.
All right, and what did you play? What character did you play over there at Looney's Tavern?
Well, actually, the first year I was cast as a dancer. I wasn't really a dancer, but I was cast as a dancer. And the second and third year I was Miss Ella.
Okay.
She was the comedian of the play.
All right, okay. And tell the viewers now where this production took place, for those that do not know.
Well, I'm actually from Addison, Alabama, which is about 30 miles from here, and this is Double Springs, and it's between Addison and Double Springs, the amphitheater. It held 1,500, it had 1,500 seats on the mountainside, and there was a stage with several buildings, and we just had a real good time. And we ran for about 15 to 20 years, I believe. So, and I met my husband. At Looney's Tavern.
Oh my goodness, what is his name?
His name is Ron Harris. He actually was the sound engineer and ran sound the original year it started in 1989. He was a senior in high school, and we met in 1994.
All right. It was a wonderful production. We saw it about 93, so I could have seen you. We lived out of state, but that was on our bucket list. We thought we must see that. It was wonderful. Oh, and it was just a great venue, wasn't it?
It was a great venue, and Lanny McAllister, the writer and director of the show, is one of my heroes. I just have to say, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have come back to Alabama. I actually moved away and came back, and I got cast the very week that I moved back, and so
That was so much fun. It just kept you here.
it kept me here. That's right. My family was here, actually, and I came back to be with family, but I also decided that I needed to be an actress to go along with that and finish college, so I came back to get my degree in education. I'm a teacher here at Winston County High School, and I have 2 children in the play.
Oh, it's a nice play. Okay, what part are they playing?
Okay. My son, who's been called to preach, Nate Harris, he is Thaddeus the drunk in the play. And my younger son, who is Drew Harris, he is Tom Pink Curtis. So they're pretty good.
Oh my goodness. This production really made an impact on you, didn't it?
Sure did.
Inspired you and just spurred you on, and it just made a difference in your life, didn't it?
And because of this, because of being in Looney's and then going from there, doing some other things, I am now the drama teacher at the high school, Winston County High School, and we perform 1 to 2 plays every school year. So we're doing a play called The Jungle at the elementary school in 2.5 weeks.
Oh my goodness. Well, just every success to you. You have really been successful. And all started at Looney's Tavern.
Exactly.
Amphitheater.
Looney's Tavern, the incident at Looney's Tavern. I actually was a part of the second one too, the aftermath. of Looney's Tavern. I can't remember the exact name, but it was the aftermath. It was after the Civil War.
Oh, did not see that.
It was great too. It was great too. A lot of great cast members, a lot of friends. I made a lot of friends in the show over the years that I was in it. And Ron also, I've made friends with his friends that he was in the show with. So just great memories.
Oh, it sounds like it. Thank you for talking to us.
You're welcome. Thank you. Hope you enjoy the show.
Okay.
Welcome, good evening. Welcome to the incident of Looney's Tavern production revival. And we want to thank so many people. A lot of people listed in the front of the program, and we don't want to run too late, so I will not thank them all, but we want to thank the lady, Mr. Bill Shipman, together with my wife, Mr. Jamie Porter, back in January, I believe it was, and gave my wife a plethora of information on how to the energy and the whole background of Looney's Tavern, how it came to be. So she's not feeling well enough to walk up here tonight, but I think she would like to know how grateful she is to have spoken with him about this. So we're dedicating the shows, tonight's show and tomorrow night's show as well, to the memory of Mr. Milchip. But there are a lot of thank yous on here. And I'll leave someone out if I start naming them. And without further ado, let's sit back and enjoy the incident of Looney's Tavern.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Alabama's Hill Country, and especially to Winston County, Alabama. The story you are about to see is true. As you look over these beautiful hills, you are virtually a stone's throw from where these events unfolded more than 100 years ago. You are our honored guest. Enjoy the beauty of nature's surroundings while we tell you of the proud heritage of the people of these timeless hills.
But don't you fret none, I'm a-coming back. You see that fellow that wrote this here story
Mr. Watkins, in order to facilitate the workings of this convention, a committee was established. That was consisting of 13 secessionists and 13 cooperations. The delegates all agreed that all resolutions must be voted out of that committee before presentation to the full body. It is in this spirit, Mr. Watkins and Franklin, that I draw your attention.
Mr. Chairman, and gentlemen of the convention, but why will the gentlemen of the secession movement not allow our resolution to come before the convention?
You are out of order, sir! Out of order! Mr. Watkins, as stated previously, it was established in the Rules Convention that all resolutions would be considered by the Select Committee of 26. So, that committee has not forwarded the resolutions to that full convention.
Mr. Chairman.
The chair reluctantly recognizes Mr. Sheets again.
Mr. Chairman, the resolution that Mr. Watkins refers to simply calls for the order of the session to be voted on by the citizens of Alabama.
Sit down, committee! Sit down!
I ask you, distinguished citizens, by allowing people to vote, are you not simply giving them what they already possess? They already possess the right to vote.
Finally, on January 11th, the ordinance of secession was read, and the vote was taken, and Chairman Brooks announced the result.
For the ordinance of secession. 54 votes. Against the ordinance, 46 votes. Now, distinguished delegates, the Rules Committee has submitted a counter-proposal to the Articles of Secession. This proposal is a means of disclaiming my responsibility for the secession and asking the federal government not hold them liable for the consequences of secession. At this point, 19 of the minority delegates have all agreed to sign. Mr. Sheets from Winston and Mr. Watkins from Franklin, please reconsider and sign this piece of legislation.
I did not come in here to sign anything to say that Alabama secedes, and I will not be forced to. Mr. Sheets, this is your chance. This counter-proposal after placing you in any wrongdoing in representing your esteemed Winston counties. I urge you to join. The Southern Republic is becoming a reality. Do not turn back on everything. Sign the joints of the statute. In honorability, I came here as a citizen of the state of Alabama, of the United States of America. I don't have to sign anything to make me a citizen of this state. My name is already on record as opposing the ordinance of secession, and whatever I might sign may not emphasize that or argue my loyalty to our government or our country any further.
You're going to jail, you little libertarian!
Put me in jail if you think I'm a traitor, but I can assure you that I'll never be a traitor enough to betray my people. I am better prepared to suffer as a traitor to the rebels than those who I came here to represent.
You're right, Tom. You know, I hope there's some old age leading back to Illinois where you're supposed to be at.
Now, boys, I want some of you young upstarts to explain to the old codger what y'all grueling about. All that trash about secession